Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back again with another episode. I'm absolutely thrilled to have back with me Darrell Beauchamp, the executive director of the Museum of Western Art here in Kerrville, Texas. Darrell, welcome back.
I'm glad to be here.
So we have a new exhibit, or as you, I think, would say, the current exhibit.
Current exhibit. That's
So
right.
tell us about the current exhibit.
Current exhibit is a great show of landscapes by the formidable landscape painter, Cliff Cavin. Cliff's been in the business for 50 years, been painting at a high level, and he is just renowned for his landscapes. A lot of blue bonnets, a lot of southwestern scenes, but Cliff can paint a landscape as well as anybody in the industry. And we decided a couple of years ago that we hadn't had a Cliff Cavin show, so we needed to do one. And he dropped, quit painting for commissions and quit providing his galleries with work, starved his audience a little bit, and opened up a show, put things aside for us, and we wound up with 54 magnificent landscapes by Cliff Cavin.
Wow.
Yeah, painter out of Seguin, Texas. He's been doing it for a long time. He's in a lot of the big shows, the Briscoe and shows like that, Bosque County, and ours every year. He's been in our show every year. Like I say, it's just Cliff's one of those guys that just takes a landscape and you feel like if you step back 20 feet from it, you could just keep walking on and walk into it like a Harry Potter painting. You could just go right into it. It is what it is. Beautiful scenes, painted wonderfully.
How long have you known Cliff?
I've known Cliff for, 35 years probably. I was with Cliff the day they had a heart attack. And so, yeah, I know him pretty well. I remind him of that every time, right? But no, we go way back. I go back to the Briscoe days at Pierce Museum when I was at the Pierce Museum in Corsicana, Texas, and the Briscoe in San Antonio, and now here. Cliff and I go way back. He and his wife, Mo, are dear friends of mine. And that it doesn't hurt, not at all. When you have somebody whose work you really enjoy and they're good friends, they're good people, that's certainly a bonus.
How have you displayed it, chronologically or thematically?
No, we didn't do a retrospective. It was one of those, how do you do this show, Cliff? Do you want to do a retrospective and pull from collectors and do a career? And he says, that sounds like I'm about to die. So you've already had one heart attack on me. So we decided he's done all new paintings for this show. So there's really no chronological. And we grouped them basically on how pretty they look next to each other. So you might see a hill country landscape with blue bonnets, and then you might see a Southwest Utah painting next to it. And it's just, however, we felt like putting them on the wall where they look very pretty. They look really nice, hung together. And we just wanted it to show well. So Cliff got a good show out of it. Took up two galleries, both our Keykefer Gallery, which is our smaller gallery, and our bigger Egloff Gallery, the two galleries to the sides of our main hall. And hung 54 works, which I thought was a bit. I thought we were going to have trouble fitting them all in there, but we had to double hang a couple, but I think they look pretty good.
Great. What was the reception to the reception?
Reception last Saturday was super. We had close to 100 people, had beer and wine flowing, and his son, Matt, is a caterer out of San Antonio, a food truck caterer, believe it or not. Did a fabulous job of hors d'oeuvres, past hors d'oeuvres, shrimp balls, and then they did pizza, sliced pizza just put out. Some people could come up and get their own little slice of pie, and they seemed to really enjoy that. And a lot of time visiting with Cliff. We were there till, 4 or 5 hours just having a chat with Cliff and talking. It was very well received.
Great. Maybe now could I ask you to look back a little bit to the event that we had, I guess I can say we, in April, which was the spring show. And I had the opportunity this year to attend the event the night before the public opening, so that I got to meet several of the artists, and you gave out some significant awards. And then, of course, Saturday night was the first night that paintings were available to bid on, and got to participate in that. But maybe one of the things that struck me was at our table, we had two artists, one who was 84 and one who was 29. And I happened to be sitting next to the younger fellow. And so, of course, we had the chance to talk. And then the award winners were extraordinarily young.
19 years old.
19 years old.
The Patron's Choice Award was given to a young lady named Eliza Hoffman. She's 19. This will be actually her second year in our shows this year. Eliza's a real comer, sophomore at the University of Texas, business major of all things, but that's going to serve her well in the art world. And she was the Patron's Choice Award for a painting of a cowboy smoking a cigar. And it's not your traditional oh, that's really pretty kind of painting, but people recognize the skill set that was there. And so she's going to get to do our banner this year, this coming year. She's already obsessing over that, which is a lot of fun. And the other 19-year-old was a guy named Nathaniel Garza. And Nathaniel is a 19-year-old, lives out of San Antonio, Texas. He's represented by Hines Fine Art over there in San Antonio. Give shout out to Janice Hines, my good and dear friend there. But she discovered Nathaniel 4 or 5 years ago when he was a young teenager and has really been promoting him. And this is his first year in our Roundup. And he was given the Director's Choice Award. All the directors, the staff, and our volunteers, we lump it under one umbrella, call it the Director's Choice. But it was a beautiful painting called The Witness. And it was a shortened title from The Witness to the River. He painted it in the weeks following July 4th last year. It's a magnificent white horse rearing up over a valley, right, looking down into a valley of where the water would be. And it was painted in inspiration following the July 4th flooding and all the disaster we had here in Kerrville. And it was just so very well done. And we didn't sell it in the show, which I was kind of surprised. But it's a large painting. People would have trouble finding places on their walls. And I think Janice Hines was in one day, and she says, you didn't sell that. And I said, no, because it's massive. It's a big painting. She said, I've got some ideas. And the next couple of days, Nathaniel called and said, would the museum accept that as a gift to our permanent collection, to your permanent collection? And the answer is absolutely, right?
I was say, how long did it take you to answer that?
Absolutely. So he's written out a story about his inspiration for painting it and tying it to the river. So it's going to have some personal meaning to us. And so we're really excited about adding that one to the permanent collection. It's already hanging in the main gallery during our current exhibition and showtime. And so we're very excited about the work of those two young people, especially because so many of our artists are in their 80s, 70s. There's a lot of them, and we need some young blood. So we're constantly, as the museum, as I tell my board of directors, looking for the youngsters. We're looking for some people who can step up because our older guys are going to not be able to paint forever. So we want the young blood. And so we're encouraging them with things like the Western Art Academy at Schreiner University. They were there yesterday, 7 hours we spent with them talking about art of business, the business of art. We were talking to them, talking about composition, and they sketched and they painted and they drew and they took tours of the back rooms. These are all kids in their 17, 18, 19 year range. That's where we got Eliza. She was in that program 2 years ago. We recognized that talent. Every year there's probably one that comes along that's special enough to be in the show. So, it's exciting to see that. And it makes some of my 5-year-old painters go, oh, these are young.
One of the things that I got in listening to your interviews of artists over the past couple of years is many of the artists that are of that age and grew up with that generation had to continue to work full time because they couldn't make a living.
Some of them did,
artist.
Yeah.
Is that changed so that a younger person can hope to make a living going forward?
The market's bigger. That's the exciting thing is that when guys like Garland Weeks, Garland's in his, let's say, 80s, Garland struggled because there wasn't the internet, right? You had to be represented by a gallery to get your work out there to be seen. And if you're lucky, that's a gallery that had 4 or 5 locations, one in Tucson, one in Los Angeles, one in Wyoming, Montana, Texas, a couple in Texas. But that was the only avenue. These kids today, Eliza, she does most of the work she sells on the internet. She sells to buyers, collector base that's visual on the internet. Nathaniel, same thing. They don't need the gallery representation as much. Now, it's nice if they have it. But yeah, so they're able to sell a lot more work and they do a lot more commissions because they're getting their word out there to a lot of different buyers. That's fun. Some of them have followers. Adrienne Stein, who's coming up this fall, Adrienne Stein has 25,000 followers on her Facebook account alone. And then she's got all those other social media accounts that I don't ever even see because I don't use them. But she doesn't need the gallery representation. She has one gallery in Denver, and that's it, right? And that's just so she can catch the walk-in traffic and think, I have a gallery in Denver. So you can say that. But most of these younger people today, man, they are so tech savvy. And this business is all about getting it out there in front of people 22,000 people at a time, right? 25,000. So, yeah, I think that's a changing world that we as museums have to adapt to, the artists are having to adapt to. But boy, it's exciting. This art's taking off.
So one of the things that struck me on the Saturday night experience was many of the artists whose work was available for sale were there. And when the purchases were announced or winning bids, whatever the right term is, it became quite emotional, some of them.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
And which surprised me. So could you maybe explain why they were so emotional over this?
You got to have a tough shell, man. You put your babies out there, you work on them for months sometimes, right? You choose the correct frame. You make sure that you got a varnish that complements the painting underneath it. You have to get it done and get it to a show like ours. It hangs in a beautiful space. It's tough when people say no, when people say, I don't love that. And so it's emotional when people say, I do. I love that and I want it. And I haven't met an artist yet who doesn't like meeting a collector. They love meeting their collectors. It's good for business to know them. They can get to be involved in their lives, maybe get commissions out of the deal. But yeah, it's just to hear no all the time. It's got to be tough. And so when they hear yes and they can see it in person and they can talk to your collector, Tom Fox, and they can say, thank you, Tom and Michelle, for your support of my livelihood. That's important. So yeah, it's fun. So we encourage the artists to come to our exhibits and roundups, right? We had 40 artists present at the roundup for opening night. And that's great because the people want to meet the people who are creating these wonderful works of art.
One of the ones that intrigued me the most that I was lucky enough to get was a Kevin McPherson.
Oh, he's so good, isn't he?
He's so good.
Oh my God, he's so good.
But I had a guy come up to me who I know from Rotary, who's actually studied under Kevin. And he was explaining to me how this was completely different direction for Kevin. And the painting style, the composition.
Yeah.
And so I had a mini class on that painting.
Yeah.
And I found that just fascinating.
Kevin was one of those guys who painted along for a long time and was very good, but he was investigating ways to do, and he created a whole new way of painting. He wrote a book, The Grid System by Kevin McPherson, and there are others. But now he is probably one of the most sought after teachers in the art world because what he's doing is it makes sense to new artists, right? Some of those two 19-year-olds that you mentioned, they've both expressed an interest in getting to Taos, going up to Taos with me one time when I go and spending 3-4 days with Kevin. And Kevin said, yeah, bring them. We'll hack this out and I'll show them because Kevin has spent 40 years fine tuning his way of doing it and it works. And it changed his direction a whole lot. It made his paintings pop and he's just that good. He is just one of the best. And to have a Kevin McPherson in your collection is quite a coup because he just doesn't sell a lot.
So I felt that I got a coup getting it, but maybe ask you to turn your head the other direction now and what may be coming down the road in late summer or even in Q3.
You know what I'm excited about? We've got the current show, Cliff Cavin, Journeys of a Lifetime. But when that show closes, we're going to have Adrian Stein, a show called The Enchanted West of Adrian Stein. And I encourage people listening to look it up, Adrian Stein, Stein. She is just absolutely one of the hottest things out there right now. She's the spouse of Kwang Ho. And Kwang was one of the two artists, Scott Christensen and Kwang Ho, that we featured in a magnificent show 2 years ago now.
Has it been that
long?
Oh,
yeah, I think so.
Oh, my gosh.
And Kwang introduced me, of course, early on in the process, in that 2-year process of putting together the show. I got to meet Adrian, his lovely wife. And I got to looking at her work, and I'm wondering, where did she come from? My goodness. I mean, Kwang's good. Kwang's really good. But my God, Adrian is just, she's different in so many ways. And she's bright and lovely. And you just couldn't ask for a better show. So I asked her, this was 2 years ago, at Scott and Kwang's show, would you consider doing a one-person show with the museum? And she said, first thing she said was, I'm not really Western. Yeah, how do you define the American West? And she'd been looking for an excuse to start painting some Southwestern type things, right? She does a lot of florals, does a lot of fantasy type work, and she wanted to combine those with her bright colors. And so there's bull skulls among iris lilies and bones floating on top of lily pads. And it's a different look at the American West. It's not cowboys on a horse looking left, cowboys on a horse looking right. It's George O'Keeffe on steroids or crack or something. I don't know, but it's bright and it's colorful and it's big. And it started out with, I can do you a gallery, 15 paintings, right? That'd be great. I'm into this now. Can we expand to 2 galleries, the Keycafer and the Egloff, like where we have Cliff right now? I've got 40 paintings. And then she calls one day. She says, is there any chance we could go right down the main hall and I'll put permanent works on the 2 side galleries and we'll do hers? Because she says some of these are 60 by 82, right? Some of these are 60 by 60. She's gone big and she's gone beautiful. And it's going to be so impressive. It's just really going to be I think the show of the year. With all regards to all the great shows we've had. It's going to be a great show. So I'm excited about Adrienne Stein, The Enchanted West of her work. We're going to have a book, a paper copy book, an online edition of that same book. And we're going to do a lot of really nice VIP type opening for her. And that's coming up in August. And then after that, 2 of my favorites are Bill Colwick and Eric Slocum. Bill Colwick and Eric Slocum are both 2 well-known names at the Museum of Western Art, but they're both big supporters of the museum. And we're going to take one gallery, going to take the Egloff Gallery and put the works of Eric and Bill together. It's a way to look at the West that's different between these 2 guys. They do different kind of a West also. So we're excited about that. And that's going to go through January. And then we're back to the American Women's Artists Association till Roundup and then Roundup. And gosh, before you look up, we're in 2028 already. So it's a busy time, a really busy time at the museum.
How was the Remembrance Garden?
We've gotten a lot of positive comments about that. I was a little surprised that the emotion would be there as it has been, but a lot of people who are visiting, and you go out there and they're standing there on the sidewalk and they're just staring at a name on the wall. You go out and can I get you a bottle of water because it's hot? And the lady says, no. She said, I just want to stand here and have a memory. So, the person on the wall. She said, yeah, that's my daughter. Or that's my son and my daughter-in-law. Or that's my mom and dad. And we've seen a lot of that. A lot of people who are coming by after hours. We see them on the camera and they open the door and they go in and they sit in that chair, the bench, and they just sit and reflect. The waterfalls moving. And so it's been fun. It's been a lot of emotion. I think people needed a place to come and know that we had not forgotten what happened on July 4th, which is going to be here in a couple of weeks.
How about the flags? Darrell, as always, it's great to sit down and visit with you. Thank you. And I hope our listeners will come out to the Museum of Western Art if they want to know where you are. Where are you?
1550 Bandera Highway. 1550 Bandera Highway, right next to River Hill Country Club. We are, if you're going out of town on Bandera Highway, we're on the right, about a half a mile from the movie theater. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. But I'm kind of like that car dealer in East Texas. I'll meet you at 2 in the morning if I know you're coming. Just tell me. I have people all the time say, I can't do it, but except for Monday. We're here. We've got staff that are available. Somebody will meet you at the museum and show you around. We really do want people to come. Our joke is if we can get you up the hill, we can keep you coming back. It's really
What's
funny.
the website?
Website is real simple, museumofwesternart.com. Museumofwesternart.com. And just go out there. We've got a robust website that talks all about the museum. One of the links is our It's Art, Let's Talk About It podcast that we do in conjunction with the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network, which we're excited about. I need to get back on that and make some new ones, put some new artists out there. But yeah, people, there's a lot to do. We have a newsletter you can sign up for on the museumofwesternart.com website. Down at the very bottom, you put in your name, email address, and push one button, and we send you a Tuesday newsletter that talks about everything we're doing and all the shows that are coming up, how to be involved. We're always looking for volunteers. So a robust website, a robust museum, and we're glad to be a part of it.
Darrell, thank you again. I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Hey, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network does for us.
Great.
Thanks.